Nick, the New York Jets are now one of the most interesting teams coming to this offseason. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of stuff swirling around the Jet sphere, and that's specifically around the quarterback position. We have a story here that's going to be pretty interesting. So, Jets fans, you might want to hang on for that one. But before we get there, Nick, we've just finished championship weekend. We're moving into the Pro Bowl, Super Bowl after that. Jets have won a Super Bowl. They know all about it. And they're looking to try to win another one, potentially with some moves that they're going to make here. But before we get into all of that, Nick, I want the Jets fans to let us know in the comments below, what do you think the score to the big game is going to be? Let us know. What do you think the score to the Super Bowl will be in the comments below. But Nick, what the Jets got going on? What big moves are they looking to make?
Yeah, so it's interesting you bring up the Jets Super Bowl victory. Of course, the famous Super Bowl victory over the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III, where they had number 12 Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Namath behind center. It looks like the Jets have been actively going after a future Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, another number 12, to be behind center for them in 2023. But one of the big question marks is obviously to acquire Rodgers, they would have to have the Packers, who currently own the Rodgers rights, obviously be a willing trade partner as well. But there's breaking news on that front. So this is according to the score.com kind of compiled all this. The Green Bay Packers would prefer to move on from quarterback Aaron Rodgers this offseason. Rodgers is believed to be aware of the Packers' feelings regarding the situation, Adam Schefter of ESPN reported. During a recent interview on the Pat McAfee show, Rodgers says he's open to having, quote, honest and direct conversations with Green Bay and would not be offended if the club moved them. All right, Miles, there's a lot of salary cap ramifications that have to go on both sides, and there's a lot of ways it could potentially happen. The Jets would probably have to cut some guys. There's some trade deals. The Jets would have to eat up a lot of Aaron Rodgers' cap hit. They may try and share some with Green Bay to unburden the load there. But the fact of the matter is, the Jets, we've done a few stories on this. Woody Johnson, the leadership in New York, they want to go after Rodgers. They appear to all in at the quarterback position. They're willing to do whatever it takes. And now we hear from Green Bay that the Packers are very open and willing to move Aaron Rodgers if they get the right deal. I think this is a huge milestone because we're starting to build a lot of momentum of Aaron Rodgers heading to the Big Apple. Give me your thoughts on the story out of Green Bay and everything the Jets could be trying to do to get Aaron Rodgers and what it could really mean for this franchise going forward.
Well, Nick, there's a couple of different things that are going on here that I think are really interesting. Obviously, the hiring of Nathaniel Hackett is almost like Aaron Rodgers bait-esque. People always are linking whatever team Hackett goes to Aaron Rodgers because of their relationship in Green Bay. And it was a good relationship. They had some good runs together. A couple other things I like is the receiving core of the Jets seems to be a highlight for Rodgers. You got, guys like Garrett Wilson, who's probably one of the hottest young receivers right now coming into this year. Elijah Moore, another really, really great receiver. And then former top 5 pick Corey Davis, a guy like Aaron Rodgers could potentially work with him and really boost this receiving core up quite a bit. And I've even heard guys like Mike Greenberg on ESPN make the point that Rodgers could turn Garrett Wilson potentially in the next Devontae Adams, Nick. Those are some high praise words for a young receiver. But Nick, this really makes sense, especially you see the O-line of the Jets getting healthier, guys like Mekhi Becton coming back. I don't know if he's going to pan out or not, but he has a lot of potential, especially being his size and his physical tools. And I really think it's a good match, but we're just going to have to see, as you said, the salary cap, the trade details. What is everything going to go into? Are they going to move on from Rodgers? And what are all the details? That's the things that we're waiting to come out because this defense on the Jets, they are ready to win Super Bowls. And this offense, not so far off. The only thing we're looking at is the quarterback position.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there with the salary cap. How is that going to work out? Because the Green Bay Packers right now are about $16 million over the cap with Aaron Rodgers on their books. That puts them in a bad situation because the Packers are trying to retool and reload. They're spending a lot of money at quarterback, and if they move off Rodgers, they're going to want the Jets to absorb all or a very good chunk of Rodgers' cap hit. So the Jets would probably have to give up some draft capital. I would think probably at least a first-round draft pick, which sounds like a lot, but if you think about it, considering your track record of drafting quarterbacks, New York Jets, I mean, I think you would gladly trade, you look at Sam Darnold, you look at Zach Wilson, you can go back even further, a second rounder like Christian Hattenberg out of Penn State. I think you'd gladly give up a first round draft pick to get a couple years to Aaron Rodgers. That's my opinion. I think it would make sense, especially with the roster you have now. But if you look at the Jets salary cap situation, if they're able to cut guys like Corey Davis, right, that saves up opens up $10.5 million in cap space. If they cut Carl Lawson, solid player, I know, but he's not a make or break guy, that frees up $15.5 million in cap space. So they have some moves they can make to bear the burden of Rodgers' contracts that wouldn't break up the integrity of their team. Plus, they have the willingness and desire to win now with the core they have, the young core of talent. So it just seems to be one of those moves where both sides could win. The Packers could finally move on from Aaron Rodgers and rebuild for the future. And the Jets have the opportunity to finally get a quality quarterback and the means to clear up the cap space to get it done. It just seems closer and closer, Mize. It seems like this is something that may be destined to happen.